Welcome to our Facebook Live audience, and I hope you can hear me. If you are just seeing my lips moving and you don't hear any sound, I trust that you will comment. And if you can hear me, I trust that you will comment that you can hear something. But I am so excited to be here and have fun and learn about some things that maybe you've heard about and maybe you've played around with, and maybe you haven't. So let's see, where is Julia?
Right here.
There she is. All right. So can I ask you to sit over here again like you did last time so I can send you to the kitchen when I need something? She's my runner, and I'm very thankful for her help. She has been a huge help. Daniel says he can go for 2. Okay, well, if he can go for then well, he's working on the computer right now. I'll need you to go for until he's ready. So, how many of you have heard of millet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A couple of you. Okay. Some of you. Millet, if you have seen it before, looks like birdseed. It's those little. Now, when you buy mixed birdseed, it's not all millet. I should put it like this so you can see it better, right? There we go. There's also another grain that they mix with it that also looks like millet. So it's usually a combination of both. But this is what I made your cheesecake out of. It's made out of cooked cereal. Who would have thought you were eating cooked cereal when you're eating cheesecake, right? Yes? Are we not getting anything?
Somehow I didn't look at those times. Oh.
Well, it was turned on. It possibly battery died.
Maybe so.
I hear sound. All right, we are live. So, welcome to our Facebook Live audience. Hopefully you can hear us now. And we are doing simple desserts. So we had cheesecake and strawberry shortcake. And I want to show you how to make some of these things. So we are going to start with our millet cheesecake. And Julia, if you could bring in the Instant Pot. I think it's ready. But you can unplug it and bring it in here. And while she does that, I'm going to pull out some of my ingredients here. Actually put her on that side so they can see it. How many of you have heard of an Instant Pot? How many of you have one? One of you? 2 of you? It's a pressure cooker, yes. Yes, so you do not have to have a pressure cooker to cook millet, but if you have one, it is very nice. The reason I enjoy it for cooking millet is because millet takes longer to cook than rice. It's a very, for me, I prefer if I'm cooking on the stove, minimum 2 hours. Because it gets it really nice and cooked. You don't have those little round balls that are crunchy and all that stuff. It also takes more water. If you're doing it on the stove, it's 1-to-4 ratio, just like as if you were cooking grits. It's going to be the same thing, only it takes a lot longer to cook than grits do. And the texture of it is very similar to grits. So yeah, it takes longer to cook, so it's harder to control and keep it from burning on the stove. So if I cook millet, my 2 favorite ways is either the Instant Pot or a crock pot. So if you don't have an Instant Pot and you have a crock pot, that works amazing too. In a crock pot, it's 1 cup of millet, and you'll have to write this down because I didn't give this to you. Crock pot is 1 cup of millet to 4 cups of water. In an Instant Pot, it's 1 cup of millet to 3.5 cups of water. Because the pressure cooker, you lose less water. And so it doesn't take as much to get the same texture. In the Instant Pot, I put it on pressure for 45 minutes. In a crock pot, I cook it overnight. So I just put it in at night before I go to bed, and the next morning it's ready to go. Or if I'm going to want to make the cheesecake in the evening, I'll put it in the morning after breakfast or before I go to work and just let it slow cook all day, and it'll be ready in the evening to make my cheesecake out of. Millet is good for more than just cheesecake. It is also good as a breakfast cereal, and you can make it sweet or savory just like grits. So if you like it sweet, you could put like a little maple syrup on it, or some chopped fruit, or granola, or whatever you want, nuts. I mean, the sky's the limit, right? However you would fix a hot cereal. Or if you want it savory, you could put like onion powder, garlic powder, some salt, maybe a little olive oil or sesame oil, even nutritional yeast. All those things make a really, really nice savory, kind of like grits. And so this I fresh cooked today after I got here. So I put this in at 2 o'clock, and it's all cooked and done and ready to go. So you can see what fresh cooked millet looks like here in the bottom of my Instant Pot. And I will get a spoon and take out some so you can see what it looks like. So here it is. It's just like a breakfast cereal. And it's all fluffy, just, I think personally, I think it's fluffier than grits. It has a mild nutty flavor. It's very healthy for you. It's high in calcium, high in fiber, has some protein in it. Just amazing. And to think that's what you were eating when you ate cheesecake. So I'm going to show you what else is in the cheesecake, because that's the last thing that goes in. So you guys all have the recipe in front of you, and I have to hunt for my ingredients. So you tell me what I'm putting in here. What goes in first? 1 cup of raw cashews. Okay. Now, if you do not have raw cashews, you can use roasted salted cashews, and it's just fine. So any kind of cashews that you want to use is okay. And you also do not have to have a big fancy Vitamix in order to blend this thing, okay? Now, I will say if you have a big fancy Vitamix, please use it. But if you don't, and you just have one of those regular blenders, what you will do is you will blend half the recipe at a time. So if you have a whole recipe, you can do a whole batch in a Vitamix. But if you have a smaller blender, you do a half recipe at a time. Yes? Yes, you can soak them in water. It makes it a lot easier to blend. The main thing you would need half at a time is just because it fills it all the way to the top. So you just do a smaller amount, and it's fine. You just pour it in your dish, blend the second batch, and pour it on top, and it works just fine. That's how I grew up doing it until I had a restaurant, and then I got my restaurant machine. But for most of my life, I've done half a recipe at a time and just poured it into a dish. In fact, another thing that's fun is you can, instead of making like a cheesecake out of it, you can make it like a breakfast dish. And when you poured your first half in, put some fresh fruit in it, like some blueberries or some canned peaches or canned pineapple, or I don't use apple chunks usually because they turn brown. But anyway, put some fruit in it. You can even do sliced bananas. And then blend your second layer and pour some of it on top. Put a little more fruit and then pour the rest over the top. Just make sure all the fruit is down inside it. And it makes like a fruit pudding. And it's really amazing that way too. And then you don't have to make the topping for on top. So it's very versatile. You can do a lot with it.
Did you make chocolate pudding with it or caramel?
You can make like a chocolate pudding. All you have to do is add your cocoa powder or your carob powder or whatever you want to use. And it does. It makes a really nice chocolate pudding. When I do that, I like to use dates instead of dried pineapple for the sweetener, because that gives it a darker brown and more of a hearty consistency. And it is so good. So yes. And of course you can leave out the lemon flavor if you're going to do that. All right, so all I have is cashews. What do I need to put in next? Lemon juice. Now where is my lemon juice? That is the question. Is it in the fridge? I think it's in the refrigerator. So while she's getting that, what goes in next? 2 teaspoons of vanilla. All right. Where did I put that? Here it is. Thank you. All right, we have lemon juice now. So my vanilla is a powder. You can order the powder through Azure Standard, which delivers once a month to, it's a food co-op, and it delivers once a month to Charlotte, not that far from here. It's because it's the north side of Charlotte. I think it's right near Tryon Street. And they deliver once a month. You meet the truck, you can get all your bulk food stuff. Like you can get, that's where this millet came from. You can get, up to 25-pound bags of things. Like if you go through a lot of rice, it's a great way to order rice. They have a lot of organic stuff, some of your specialty things. And yes, they have the organic vanilla extract. So it's the extract, the pure extract vanilla. They evaporate the alcohol out of it and they turn it into a powder. And so I like to use it in this just because it doesn't turn it as brown. It makes more of a white color. But if you have liquid vanilla extract, you can still use it. It will still work. This just happens to be what I have. And how much did you say I'm putting in here? 2 teaspoons. All right, so 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, and what's next? Okay, now this is just lemon essential oil. So this is what makes the lemon flavor in your cheesecake. No artificial flavors. It's just lemon essential oil. And I use the Now brand, and you saw there's not very much in there, right? Like just literally just a few drops will do the entire batch of cheesecake. So what does it say, 8 to 10? So I just count the drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Now I'll go to 9. There we go. All right. Can you see inside my blender? Do I need to move the blender? I can move the blender too. That way you can see what I'm doing. All right. I have not put the lemon juice in. Thank you. Because you guys told me how much, right? 2 tablespoons?
I don't see it in it.
1. Yeah, move it wherever you need to move it. Because I'm not watching the screen. I'm watching what I'm doing. 2 tablespoons. All right, what else goes in here? Dried pineapple.
You gotta get it.
All right.
Stand so this will go directly over the top. Now you can see down in it.
Oh, look at that. You can really see in it.
Straight in it.
All right, how much dried pineapple? It says about a 1/3 cup. And you can adjust that more or less, however you like. If you want a little bit sweeter, you can put more in. Whatever you want to do. Okay, and then, all right, we have that in the freezer, I think. Now what we don't have is boiling water. So we can boil some. Daniel, you want to get me some water? Just give me 2 cups. At home I have a electric tea kettle and I turn it on. Makes it super easy to boil water. Yeah, this turns on, so we'll be good. All right, and then what else goes in here? Pinch of salt. Now, is that still in the kitchen or did I bring it in here? It's fun when you have to haul all your kitchen from home. Did you find the salt? The salt, is it still in there too? She found it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right, so how many of you have seen frozen apple juice concentrate? At the grocery store, you can find it at Walmart or any grocery store, usually near the frozen fruit section of the freezers, you will find frozen fruit juice concentrate. It's 100% juice, but it's been concentrated down and frozen. And so this is our sweetener for our cheesecake. And we need 1 cup, right?
Yeah, 2 cups.
We need 1 cup of apple juice concentrate and 1 cup of boiling water. And we will make juice out of it. So if you were to make juice out of apple juice concentrate, just like a diluted juice to just drink, you would do 1/3 instead of half. So it's like 1-to-3 ratio water. So if we had 1 cup of apple juice concentrate, we would put in 3 cups of water. But we are doing a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's a little bit sweeter because this is a sweetener, not a juice to drink. So. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. We have more food over here too. Daniel can help serve you some food. We have more cheesecake in the fridge. How many of us do we have here? We got quite a crowd. Yes, feel free to have a seat. All right, so we got 1 cup of frozen apple juice concentrate. There's 1 up there, I think. You've got it turned down on my blender, not what I'm doing over here. There we go. Now we can see where we're at. All right, so while we are waiting for the water to boil, well, I don't think we really need to wait much because it's about ready to boil. All right, so we need 1 cup of boiling water. So we are going to put our water on top of our frozen apple juice concentrate until we get to the 2-cup line. So basically it's 2 cups of a little bit stronger juice. And I'm going to use my spoon here. We'll clear that so it stops beeping at us. We're just going to stir that up. The only reason we did boiling was to melt that frozen concentrate faster, okay? So now we have basically cold juice is what we have now because that frozen cooled down that boiling water really fast. All right, so now we're just ready to put it together. Did I put the salt in here? I know you told me to, but did I do it? That's the question. No, I didn't. Okay, we need a pinch of salt in here, okay? It doesn't take very much, just a tiny bit, because when I cooked the millet, I put some salt in the millet already. If you don't salt the millet, you're going to need a little extra salt in here. We don't want salty, but we want flavor, and we want that sweetness to come out. So we're going to put our apple juice in, and then the last thing that goes in is what? The millet, right? The most important ingredient. And we need 4 cups of cooked millet. So, I don't know if it's going to stay. It's going to go, yeah, it'll crash. That's your job. I can't deal with that. I have to cook. So this is cooked millet. Now this is a 2-cup measuring cup, so I'm just going to measure it twice. And because I only cooked 1 cup of millet to 4 cups of water, it's basically going to be everything that I cooked. So if you want leftovers to actually eat, what you do is you cook 2 cups of millet, and then you eat some of it, and you make cheesecake out of the rest of it. Now this millet, what it does, even you can see how soft it is, right? And when we blend this, you can see how liquidy the whole thing is. What it does is it works just like grits. You know what happens to grits the second day, right? It turns hard. So because we're using the fresh millet while it's still hot and soft, and we're blending up, it's going to turn hard in our cheesecake. So if you take leftover millet that you made yesterday and you blend it up in cheesecake, you will have cheesecake soup because it's already thickened.
won't work.
It won't thicken a second time. It only thickens once. So you want to make sure that you use fresh hot millet. All right, that's empty. We used it all up. Yes, thank you, Julia. All right, and I have a lid to the blender, and now I'm going to make noise. Because the thing, you see how full this is, right? So I said if you have a smaller blender, do half at a time. The thing is, if when you are making it, if you want smooth cheesecake, it's got to be smooth before you pour it into your dish. And Julia, I'm going to need that dish that we emptied with the cheesecake. I'm going to use that dish again for this cheesecake. Yes, please. Okay, now let's see. What do we have to do? If we plug it in, it might work better. At home, I don't have to do that. So as I'm looking at it, it's having a little bit of a hard time blending. So I'm going to add a little extra water. That's why I asked Pastor Daniel to bring me more than 1 cup of water. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of water while it's blending, just to make sure it actually blends. So I'm going to make noise again, and you will see me pour a little water in it until it goes down the way I want it to. Did you see how I figured out it was done? I put my spatula in, got just a little bit, put 1 drop on my finger, and rubbed it between my fingers. If it feels like sandpaper, it's not done. But if it feels smooth, you know that your cheesecake is going to be smooth. So that's your secret for blending anything if you want it smooth. That little rub between your finger trick. All right, did you see how liquidy this is? I don't know if you can tell or not, but you'll be able to tell when I pour it. Okay, so I'm lazy. You may not think that because I worked all night cooking for you, but I'm lazy. So when I make cheesecake, I do not make a crust. You probably noticed there was no crust in the bottom of your cheesecake. Well, for one, it helps lower your calories because the crust is usually, made very high fat, and it also takes time to make. So it saves you a lot of time, but at the same time, you don't want it stuck to the bottom of your dish. So I use shredded coconut as my crust. And if you don't like coconut, you can leave it off. I've also put granola on the bottom. Granola is nice for the bottom as well, but whatever you want. I did one dish without any coconut, just in case there was someone here who was allergic to coconut. But I just put a nice layer in the bottom of my dish. This is unsweetened coconut. Make sure that you don't get the coconut with sugar added to it. Yeah, you know what you can see. I'm not watching your screen. All right, so we have a nice layer of coconut in the bottom. And now, because this is a liquid, if I just pour in one spot, the coconut is going to go psh, and I'll go to the sides, right? So I think you can see. I'm going to carefully drizzle just a little bit over the top of the coconut, just to kind of help weight it down a little bit, so it doesn't go all flying. You can see how liquidy it is, right? Can you believe that's the cheesecake that you ate?
Pour your blender back so we can see what it looks like. Okay.
All right, so I've just got a light drizzle over top. Now I'm just going to pour it on the side and just go back and forth motion, and it's going to be like, I always say it looks like lava coming down a mountainside because it's just going to roll across that coconut.
There it's going.
And it all stays perfectly put where it belongs. So much fun to watch. All right. I just need my spatula because it's good to the last drop. We don't want to leave any in the blender. So all you have to do is stick that in the fridge and let it sit up, and it's done. That was it. We just made cheesecake. Isn't that great? No sitting there slaving over the oven for 2 hours, waiting for the thing to bake and then trying to cool it down and all that stuff. It's easy. And you know what? If you Google vegan cheesecake, you will not come up with this recipe. You will not find it. I don't know of very many people in the world who even make cheesecake like this. Most of your vegan cheesecake recipes will call for 3 cups of cashews, and it will make one little tiny cheesecake. It's like solid nuts and such high fat, and of course they put sugar in it, and you know it's super rich, and when you taste it, it's just like, ugh, you know. And the nice thing about this, because it was only 1 cup of cashews for a 3-quart casserole dish of cheesecake. You've got low fat, and with it being the millet, it's not super rich, and you can eat so much more of it and actually get full on it because it's real food, you know, high in fiber, and trust me, millet is a whole lot cheaper than cashews are. So anyway, that's it. It's ready for the fridge. Now, there's 2 ways that I do it. Today you noticed I served just the cheesecake and I served the strawberry sauce on the side. But if I want to make it all in advance, I will let that cool for about 30 minutes just so it's starting to solidify a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and make the strawberry sauce and very carefully put it over the top and stick the whole thing in the fridge. That strawberry sauce will thicken like pie filling so you can actually slice it up. And it's a 1 dish ready to go to a potluck or serve for an event or whatever, and you don't have to cook anything the day of. It can be all done in advance. And you can make it 2 or even 3 days in advance if you need to. Yes?
Valerie on Facebook suggests using grape nut cereal as a crust.
Yes, grape nuts also make a nice crust for the bottom of that.
Of course, it wouldn't be gluten-free.
It wouldn't be gluten-free, but it's sugar-free and it's whole grain. So yes, thank you, Valerie. Okay, so that's cheesecake. Any questions on that? You can just set it on the counter.
We have more cheesecake. If anyone wants to come through and get some seconds while we're transitioning here.
Yes, feel free.
Grab some.
All right, so what do you want to see next? Okay, so I can do the coconut whipped cream, and I can do the vanilla cake, which is what we used for the shortcake. What would you like to see? The vanilla cake? Okay. I need a cloth or something damp that I can wipe my fingers off on because my fingers are all sticky with cheesecake. Okay, so vanilla cake.
Are you going to use this for that?
I'm not. I'm done with it. Thank you.
The base?
Yeah, you're welcome to. I'm just getting it out of my way over here. Okay. Yes, you can see my bowl. All right, so vanilla cake. We are going to use as much whole grain as possible. Thank you so much. Now I won't get cheesecake on everything I touch. And I think I got 1 drop of water in my dry measuring cup. So let's see if we can wipe the dry measuring cup out a little bit. So with the vanilla cake, you will notice I do use a little bit of sugar. If you want to make it entirely sugar-free, you can. I would recommend using maple syrup instead of sugar, and then just decreasing the soy milk or whatever milk you end up using to adjust for the liquid. And you can do it that way. Today I'm going to do it with, if I use sugar at all, I try to use only the organic dehydrated cane juice crystals. And the reason is because it's a lot less processed than your regular white sugar that you buy in the store. White sugar is, the first thing they do is they of course extract the juice and they boil it, and then they take the molasses out of it, and then they bleach it, and that becomes your white sugar. And then when they want to make brown sugar, they dump the molasses back into the white sugar, and that's brown sugar. And whereas the organic dehydrated cane juice crystals, there's the Florida crystals, there's organic sugar, there's all different names for it. It's the same thing. It's boiled down, but they don't take the molasses out of it. They don't bleach it. They don't add all the chemicals to it. So it's still sugar, of course. You still want to go sparing on it, but it's a lot less processed. Yes, you had a question? Stevia, yes. Give me a second. It's okay. It's okay. We can't hear with that going on. So if you want to bake with stevia, you can. Stevia is a natural sweetener, but it's not sugar at all. It's a plant. In fact, I actually grew stevia in my garden once. And when you eat the leaves, they actually taste sweet, but they have no sugar content. And that is something that you can use in baking too. It is a little bit harder to do like a whole grain cake with stevia because you have to use a lot of it, and it will alter the flavor a little bit. Stevia is better in your liquid desserts like your puddings or cheesecake or teas and coffee, that kind of stuff. But you can use it in baked goods. You just have to use more of it. But yeah, totally. Play around with it, and you can make this with stevia if you wanted to do sugar-free. Let's see. What are the flours that we need for this? 1 cup of oat flour, 1 cup of pastry flour, and 1 cup of whole wheat flour, right? Now, I like to, for pastry flour, I have a grinder. And so I buy 100% whole wheat, but it's soft wheat, not hard wheat. It's a different variety of wheat, and when you grind it up, you can get whole grain pastry flour. And that's usually what I do. Unfortunately, I'm still unpacking all my stuff, and I have not unpacked my grinder yet. So for today, I had to use the organic unbleached pastry flour or all-purpose flour, and that works instead. But I prefer the whole grain pastry flour, and you can also buy whole grain pastry flour at Whole Foods. I think they're the only place around here that carries whole grain pastry flour. So we have 3 flours, 100% whole wheat flour, 100% whole oat flour, and then our pastry flour. And we are going to do what? How much of each? 1 cup of each. Now you notice that I gave you 2 recipes for this cake, right? I give you the gluten-free version as well. You'll see that on the other side. It's the exact same recipe, only instead of the whole wheat flour and the pastry flour, it uses sorghum flour. And that is something that you can order, or you can also get it at Whole Foods. They carry it. And sometimes Harris Teeter carries it as well. It's usually in the gluten-free flour section. But I have made this, both the gluten-free recipe and the whole grain recipe, many, many times, and you can hardly tell the difference between the two. It's one of those where gluten-free tastes almost as good as the wheat, which is very rare for a gluten-free recipe. So for oat flour, I make my own by blending rolled oats. That's all you have to do. If you have a Vitamix like I do, you blend the rolled oats and it comes out completely fine. If you have a food processor, it's going to be a little more coarse. So all you have to do is sift it after you're done grinding it. And you can still get that nice fine flour, but you want it very fine for the cake. I made the mistake one time of forgetting to sift it after I ground it in a food processor. And everyone asked me if I'd added oat bran to the cake because it was gritty. It tasted like, a bran muffin or something as opposed to a cake. So, but yeah, this one I don't have to sift because I blended it in the blender. All right, so we have our 3 cups of flour, and you'll notice when I measure, I measure them full. I don't like doing anything part way. So I fill it all the way, and then I kind of use my finger to flatten it on top so it's completely full. All right, what goes in after the flour? That's the organic sugar that we were talking about, right? So you will notice, and of course every batch is a different color. Sometimes they're more brown, sometimes it's a little more white, but it's never white. It's always off-colored, and that's what this is here. And it's always granulated, although you can get it in a powder form as well. And you can get this at any grocery store and Walmart. They all carry it. It will be in the sugar aisle, but it won't be with the sugar. It'll be slightly down the aisle, a little bit away from it. And this cake recipe will make a full pan like what you see over there. The full 3-quart casserole dish is what that makes. Okay, so we have that in. What goes in next? Chia seeds. What is a chia seed? Do any of you remember the craze when we were young, when the chia pets came out? You remember those? So the chia pets, they grew this green grass on their back when you watered them. It was chia seeds. That's why they were called chia pets. And that grass, if you'd eaten it, would have been really good for you, actually. But chia seeds, and then also there's something else after the chia seeds. What is it? Flaxseed. I have it out already. These are our egg replacer. So we are using chia and flax instead of egg. And the nice thing about it is not only is it replacing our egg, but it's adding a ton more fiber to this recipe. Which, the nice thing about fiber, what does it do? It slows down your metabolism of the sugar and makes it so your blood sugar doesn't spike up because that fiber just slows it down and it just slowly releases into your bloodstream instead of all at once like it does when there's no fiber. So, because we have whole grains and flax and chia, this is a very high fiber cake, which is really nice. So, because I'm not going to use whole seeds, I'm going to grind them in my little coffee grinder. If you don't have a coffee grinder, you can grind it in a blender, or you can buy them pre-ground. In fact, you can even buy them pre-ground and mixed flax and chia blend. But I use equal portions of flaxseed and chia seed together to make the best egg substitute. But if you're allergic to one or you don't have one, you can substitute with the other. So how much does it call for? 2 tablespoons of each? Yeah, 2 tablespoons, that's right. You can substitute with 4 tablespoons of all flax or 4 tablespoons of all chia if you don't have one or the other. But it does turn out the best texture with using both. So we are just going to put them both in the grinder at once. Chia seeds tend to clump more when you grind them. So I like to grind them with the flax seed to keep them from clumping. So there's our 2 tablespoons of chia and our 2 tablespoons of flax. We've got it all in there, and we are just going to turn this on. All right, it's all ground. And we're just going to put that right in. Always unplug before you stick your fingers in it. If you value your fingers. All right. So that's our flax and chia. What's next? All right. So does that have a big T or a small T? Small T. So I have this really little trick that I like to use in my recipes, and if it has a big T, it's a tablespoon. If it has a small T, it's a teaspoon. So if you put 4 tablespoons of baking powder in here, it would start growing before you mixed it in. You would have a volcano. The only reason I know is because I did it once. I always tell people the reason why I know so much about cooking is because I've done all the things you're not supposed to do and I know what happens. Okay, so we are looking for the baking powder here. Here's the baking powder. So 4 teaspoons. Anybody, I'll ask the kids first. Have you learned yet how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Do you know? You want to guess? That's a really good guess. Anyone else want to guess? 8? Oh, wow. We're really going for it now. All right. Anyone else want to guess? 2? All right. Well, all those guesses are wrong, but they're good guesses. The answer is 3. There's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So, okay, so I'm going to ask you one more question. If we have 4 teaspoons, and there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, how much are we going to put in here? We're going to do 1 tablespoon because that's 3 teaspoons, right? And then how much do we have left? 1 teaspoon, right? Because we started with 4. So we're going to do a tablespoon and a teaspoon. How's that? There's your math lesson for the day. All right, so 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. There we go. All right, so what are we left with? Salt. And how much salt are we putting in? 1.5 teaspoons. That's right, because it's a little T. All right, I'm just going to do 1/2 teaspoon because it's easier than trying to find the 1/2 teaspoon. All right.
Kristina, what I want to know, in the last recipe, you put a pinch of salt. How many pinches in a teaspoon?
A pinch of salt is about 1/8 teaspoon. So, how many 1/8 teaspoons are in a teaspoon? There'd be 8. 8 pinches in a teaspoon. How do you like that? Okay, so it says, now you'll notice I put the vanilla in wet ingredients because I knew most of you don't have powder. But since I have powder, I'm putting in the dry ingredients. So how much vanilla do I put in? 2 tablespoons. Now, I want to tell you a secret. If you're not making strawberry shortcake and you just want to make a nice cake, do 1 tablespoon of vanilla instead of 2, and then take your trusty, where did I put it? Anyway, yeah, your lemon essential oil, and put in 10 drops of lemon essential oil, and add some frozen blueberries, and you'll have a lemon blueberry cake. And I like to do a lemon blueberry cake in a bundt cake. And it is one of the most beautiful and tasty cakes you ever ate. And it's the same recipe. You're just changing decrease your vanilla and add some lemon. And you will enjoy it. So there, I gave you a bonus recipe just now. Whenever anyone in our family has a birthday, lemon blueberry cake is usually what they ask for. That's their favorite cake. Okay, so we have all the dry ingredients now, right? So we're going to mix these in with our dry mix whisk. And then all we have to do is add our wet ingredients, which I think I'm going to need my 2-cup measuring cup back that we used for the cheesecake, because I don't see it here on the counter. Just rinse it out. I'm just going to put, oh, you already washed it. Well, thank you. She's on the ball. We're going to keep you around, Julia. Thank you. All right, so our wet ingredients include what? Okay, so we have olive oil, applesauce, and soy milk, right? That's our wet ingredients because we've already done the vanilla. Yes, you have a question?
If we want to avoid oil,
Yes, leave it out. The recipe still works. You increase the applesauce to 1 cup. So I've played around with this. I've done it with all oil and no applesauce. Turns out horrible. It's so much better with applesauce. Like, you wouldn't believe it. Like, decreasing the oil and using applesauce instead makes a world of difference in the cake. It gives it, it doesn't fall. It gives it more substance. It helps it rise better. I think it's because of the whole grains. It needs that applesauce to hold it together. And yes, just do 1 cup of applesauce and no oil, and it turns out amazing. And you can do it either way. So I'm going to, since you didn't all eat the applesauce, I'm going to steal some of the applesauce, okay? So this is my homemade applesauce. You can use homemade applesauce, store-bought. You can just like cook up some apples if you want, whatever you want to use for your applesauce. But I have noticed that cooked apples does better than raw. So don't just blend an apple in the blender and dump it in. It doesn't work quite as well. What's that? Oh, you want to see my homemade applesauce?
Yes.
Well, I mean, everyone should know what homemade applesauce looks like. I hope you've eaten it at home. All right, so what do we need? 3/4 cup of applesauce. We got that there. And then our, if you use the 1/4 cup of oil, it does make it a little bit lighter. It makes it a little bit fluffier, just having that little bit of oil. Use light, if you're using olive oil, use light. Don't use extra virgin. And the reason is because extra virgin is going to taste like olives. You don't want olive flavored cake. And also because extra virgin is heavier, it's not going to rise as much. So if you're doing any baking and you're using olive oil, use light olive oil. It basically means it's more filtered. They've taken all the olive pieces out of it. It's not going to have a strong olive flavor. And of course, you can use any other oil that you'd rather use if you don't want to use olive. So we need a 1/4 cup. I packed a 1/4 cup measuring cup, but I don't know what I did with it. So we're just going to do 1/2 of a 1/2 cup. So I've got my oil here. I got a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And I need my 3/4 cup of applesauce. You'll notice I'm measuring all this out, but I'm not putting it in yet. I'm doing this on purpose because I want to put all the liquid in at the exact same time. So there's my 3/4 cup of applesauce. Got my 1/4 cup of olive oil, and now we're going to do the soy milk. This is organic, unsweetened soy milk from Walmart. It has 2 ingredients, soybeans and water. I like it because it doesn't have all the other additives that a lot of your other milks have. You don't have to use soy milk in this recipe. You can use almond milk, you can use oat milk, whatever milk you want to use. My top favorite is either soy or almond for this.
so that one will go back quickly. I can do it.
No, it actually keeps, soy milk keeps very well. It will keep almost 2 weeks in the fridge. And you will know when it spoils because it smells like manure. So if it doesn't smell like manure, it's still good. That's how you know. The smell test is always accurate with soy milk. Okay, and then we need lemon juice, right? Which we just had. What did we do with it? Oh, I hid it from myself. That's what I did with it. All right, and how much lemon juice am I putting in? 1 tablespoon. Okay. Now, the reason I'm putting lemon juice in my soy milk is because I'm making buttermilk. Some people do it with apple cider vinegar or regular vinegar. I like to do it with lemon juice. But it actually starts curdling the soy milk. And it will do that with almond milk too. It doesn't curdle quite as much. It won't do it as much with your like oat milks and rice milks and some of those, but with almond and soy, it will start to curdle it. So that is my buttermilk. All right, so we have it all ready. So we're going to put in our 1/4 cup of olive oil, our 3/4 cup of applesauce, and our 2 cups of soy milk. We're going to put it all in at once. And I think my spatula, I need my spatula, because it is going to be a lot harder to stir that with a whisk. I'll move my flour out of the way. Thank you so much. So which should I do this in? Do I have another flat casserole dish that I could use, or should I use my bundt pan? Okay, perfect. Then I will use it. Alrighty. Thank you. And that's it. Now, you will notice some recipes that call for flaxseed and chia seed. They'll tell you, put in a little bowl, add water to it, let it sit, and then beat it in like an egg. You notice I didn't do that. So instead, what I do, I mixed it in the dry ingredients, I added all my liquid ingredients to it, and then I'm putting it in my pan, and I let it sit in my pan for 10 minutes before I put it in the oven. It still activates the egg, but I don't have to deal with that slimy, gooey substance and try to beat that in the recipe, which is a ton of work. So it actually makes it easier than using eggs, because I didn't have to beat anything. I didn't even need a whisk or anything except to mix the flour. So this is all ready to go. So we'll let it sit for 10 minutes, and then we put it in the oven for 45 to 50 minutes. And that's it.
What temperature?
Temperature, 350. 350 for 40 to 50 minutes. You always know it's the toothpick test, right? If any of you have baked anything, you know, stick a toothpick in. And if you have parchment paper, you can put parchment paper in the bottom of it before you put it in. I left my parchment paper at home. But that can also help, if your oven is prone to burning, it can help prevent it from burning on the bottom because it adds another layer. Also ensures that it comes out in one piece. But even without parchment, it usually comes out in one piece. Once in a great while, I'll have like one little spot stick in the middle or something. And you can just patch that back on while it's hot, and it will harden it, and you'll be all right.
What's your other trick to keep the element from coming on as soon as you put it in?
If you have an oven that likes to burn stuff and tends to lose a lot of heat when you open the oven door, I will preheat my oven to 375 or 400, depending on the oven. And then when you open the oven door and you stick your cake in and you close the door, you turn it down to 350 so the element doesn't come on and immediately start burning the bottom of your pan. So that is a trick I've been able to use in some ovens, and some ovens run hotter and don't need it. So it just depends on your oven. You can experiment with that. Any other questions? All right, we have one more recipe. How are we doing on time? We're doing okay on time. All right, so how many of you liked that coconut whipped cream? Isn't that really neat? So the good news is it does not require a blender. You just need a hand mixer, which, Daniel, if you could let Julia know, I'm going to need the hand mixer. I'm going to grab a couple things out of the fridge while she gets the mixer. All right, so here we are. This is an empty dish. You can see it's all fogged up. because I've had it in the freezer. So it is nice and cold. And I'm gonna need also, there's a metal bowl in there that I use for mixing. This is coconut milk. And this is actually organic coconut milk that has no additives. So it doesn't even have the gar gum or anything else in it. You can use any kind of coconut milk or coconut cream that you want, yes, as long as it is not light. If it says light, that means they added a bunch of water to it and it's not full fat. So you need the full fat coconut milk, but it can be any brand. You could use the Thai Kitchen brand. You could use a solid can of coconut cream. You can use coconut milk. Whatever you use, you put it in the fridge overnight. And so the fat in the coconut milk usually comes to the top and then it solidifies in the fridge. And that is your cream that you're going to use for your whipped cream. If you're using coconut cream, you're going to get more out of a can. If you're using coconut milk, you're going to get less out of a can because it has more water in it. So it just depends on how much you want to make. Like when I need to make a giant bowl of it, I buy cans of coconut cream because then you buy less cans. Yeah. But if I just need to make a small batch, coconut milk works. But it's solid, okay? I can turn it upside down. There's nothing coming out of it. It's been refrigerated overnight, thank you. And we're just going to use a spoon, and you can see how solid it is, okay? It's got my spoon.
Put it into the camera so we can see. There, you can see.
Yeah, we can turn it upside down with the spoon in it. It's not going anywhere. Now, when you carefully get it out, you do need to be careful because there will be liquid at the bottom of the can. And at the beginning, we don't want all that liquid in the bowl. We just want the solid. So we're just going to carefully get it off the top. It's hard. Pour off the liquid. Yeah, you can do that too. This one has a lot in it. There's not much water at all in the bottom of this can. This is a nice can. There's like a couple tablespoons of water at the bottom. Now, you will probably end up using some of the liquid. We just don't want all of it. So, for now, we're going to leave it out until we start mixing it. And then for the sweetener, you'll notice it says powdered sugar, but you can also use stevia. The difference is powdered sugar does tend to thicken it up a little bit more than stevia does, but for flavor, it will still work with stevia. You just don't want to use a liquid sweetener. Don't put maple syrup or honey or anything like that in it, because that will just turn it to water. But you can. And then same with the vanilla. I prefer to use vanilla powder in this because it stays white and it's also a powder, so it's not going to add liquid to my ingredients. But you can use liquid vanilla in this as well. Okay, so we have all of our coconut cream, and I've got my water right here that I can use to add. We're going to put, this is for Florida Crystal's organic powdered sugar. So once again, it's not been bleached and doesn't have all the chemicals added to it. They put a little bit of organic cornstarch in to make it powdery. So this is all organic, and it does not take very much of this, and you can totally do it to taste. I think it says for 1 can, 2 tablespoons approximately. Is that what it says in your recipe? 2 to 4. I've got 2 cans here, so I'm going to start with 4. And then we can adjust as needed as we go. It's totally to taste. If you don't like it very sweet, you don't have to put much in. You can do whatever you want. And then it says a pinch of salt, right? That's very important. I've forgotten it a few times and then tasted it and said, uh-oh. Coconut milk, it doesn't take very much, but without that pinch of salt, has a very, almost like a strong flavor that overpowers you. And salt really helps to bring out the natural sweetness of the coconut. Okay, we have our mixer. This is all you need. And, oh, we do need vanilla. Yes, that's important. That's going to help the flavor too. Where's my vanilla? Here it is. How much? Okay, a quarter teaspoon, but I've got 2, so I'm going to do a half teaspoon. And I'm going to guess, all right?
You didn't measure that.
I did too. Guessing is allowed. The only important thing is that it tastes good at the end. I'm going to put a little bit of my water in it, not very much, just a little bit to add some. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It looks like whipped cream. I'm going to pause just to wipe the sides off. Isn't that neat? Just coconut. Oh, that's his favorite part. Now for the first batch that I made for you guys, he was busy, so Julia got to lick the beaters. All right, so the last thing is you just have to taste it to make sure it's edible, right? It's perfect. It's perfect. All right, now I gotta wash my hands because I liked them. What do you think? Was that simple enough? Now you all want to go make coconut whipped cream? All right. You can, but I never have.
I always eat it before it goes to the freezer.
I always make it fresh, like right when I'm ready to make it, or if I want to take it to potluck, I can do it the day before and just stick it in the fridge. It's once you do it, it's good for 5 days in the fridge, and it doesn't separate. No, as long as it doesn't melt. You saw I chilled the bowl. I don't have a spatula again. I'm not. I guess I used it again. I need my spatula again. So I'm going to put my whipped cream here into the bowl, my chilled bowl. See how thick it is? Isn't that beautiful? Thank you.
You did it pretty good with a spoon.
I try. You saying you want to lick the rest? So this will spoil, yeah. I try to use it within 5 days. But it never lasts 5 days at our house. Because it's I mean, if you don't have any more strawberry shortcake to put on, it's amazing on a bowl of fruit salad. Like, it's wonderful. And the nice thing is that there's not very much sugar in that. It's not real sweet. So yeah, you just put that in the fridge and it's good for the next 5 days. So, any other questions? So, obviously I didn't do all the strawberry sauce, but I have a few minutes so I can talk to you about them if you'd like. There's 2 strawberry sauces, right, on your recipe. They're both on the first page. One is called strawberry pie filling, and the other one is called strawberry jam. The strawberry pie filling was the thickened fruit that we put on top of the cheesecake. And that is basically where you take your frozen apple juice concentrate, and I put a couple tablespoons of grape juice concentrate in it to give it that nice red color. And thicken that on the stove with some cornstarch until it comes to a boil, and it boils for 2 minutes. And then you add your frozen fruit or fresh fruit. You don't want to cook the fruit. If it's frozen, you just want to thaw it until it's soft, which usually takes 5 minutes. And you'll want to stir it so it doesn't burn. Then once it's done, like I said, you can put it on your cheesecake, or you could pour it into a pie crust and make a no-bake strawberry pie if you're using frozen strawberries. It's also really good on top of pancakes. We had that last month, didn't we? we had it on top of pancakes for brunch. That was really good. It's nice. Leftovers are great as a jam because you don't have sugar that way. There's so much that you can do with it. So that's the strawberry pie filling. Now the strawberry jam is the raw strawberry sauce that we put on your strawberry shortcake. And that I made last year when strawberries were in season, because strawberries are just coming on, but they're not quite there yet, ready. So what does it say? 4 cups of fresh strawberries, and I use a 4-cup measuring cup and pile it as high as it goes. So it usually ends up being 5 or 6 cups of fresh strawberries. And then 1 1/4 cups of dehydrated pineapple chunks. That's the same dried pineapple that we used for the cheesecake. And you just throw it all in your blender and blend it up. And then pour it straight into jars and put it straight in the freezer. No cooking required. Yes?
Could it be fresh pineapple?
No. The reason that you're using dried is because that's your thickener in the jam, because we didn't put any fruit pectin in this. So instead of pectin, we're using the dried pineapple. It thickens it and sweetens it and adds flavor all at the same time. So you only have to have 2 ingredients. You don't have to cook it or anything. Like I said, you just blend it, pour it in jars, put it in the freezer. And it keeps beautifully. So last summer when strawberries came on, we had our house up for sale. We were in the process of moving out here. And I was so sad because we had a strawberry farm like 1 mile from our house. A full acre strawberry farm. And they had beautiful strawberries for from the beginning of May or end of April until June. And I always froze lots of strawberries every year. And I was like, if we're moving, frozen strawberries don't move very well because they thaw really quick. And plus it takes a lot of space in the freezer. And so I told my husband, I said, this year, instead of freezing strawberries, I'm going to do it all as jam, the frozen strawberry jam. And so I did. I made, 20-something jars of strawberry jam, filled the whole shelf in the freezer. And when we were ready to move, we moved that strawberry jam in the freezer in the moving truck, and it stayed frozen the whole way here. And so I got here, it was still frozen. When we pulled in the driveway, we just had to plug it back in, and the freezer turned back on, it stayed frozen. And so that's how I moved my strawberries. So it keeps, I pour into jars, but I leave enough headspace that it can expand. And it keeps for a couple of years without getting freezer burn if it's in glass jars. You just have to make sure don't drop them, Don't stack them funny so when you open the freezer door, they all come out on you. and leave enough headspace, but it freezes beautifully. So when you're ready to make strawberry shortcake, you simply pull one out of the freezer, chop up some fresh strawberries, stir it in, and your sauce is ready to go. No extra work required. So that's the strawberry jam. So any other questions? Yes?
What is the yield for cooking at the very bottom where it's like after you refrigerate?
So yield, that's how much it makes after you blend it. So I usually freeze it in pint jars, and pint jars hold 2 cups each. So the recipe will make 2 pint jars. That's how much the recipe will do. Any other questions?
Your strawberry pie filling, can you just put your fresh berries in your crust and then pour this
Yes.
sauce over?
Yes, you can, and you'll need less sauce if you're using fresh strawberries. So yeah, just put your fresh strawberries in the pie, and you'll probably be able to cut that recipe in half. You'll need a lot less sauce, and you just drizzle that sauce over the top of the strawberries and stick it in the fridge. Yes. This recipe is made for frozen strawberries, and because frozen strawberries let out their own water, you have to have more cornstarch and stuff to thicken it up to make it more of a sauce. Plus the sauce stretches out those frozen berries. Yes. Good questions. Any other questions? Well, I hope you had fun tonight. Before I let you go, we have a few announcements that we want to make. Daniel, do you have a few invitations? When is the next class? I am hoping to do a class this fall. I'm going to be really busy this summer because I'm in school. But I am planning to do another class this fall. Hopefully we can do like some winter things like winter soups and stews and maybe some entrees and different things. So yes, if we could get a piece of paper and pass it around, if you would like to write your email address and phone number down, that way we can contact you when we do another cooking class. That would be great. Well, Daniel will pass that around.
Oh, hey, Ben. I will start that in. We'll just pass it around. You just fix your name and phone number or email address, whatever is the best way to get in touch with you.
And we have some other things coming up as well, exciting events besides cooking classes also.
So some of you may have noticed that this end of the room here, some different things here. This backdrop, it looks like it's from somewhere in Israel. It's actually in Jerusalem. And in a week or so, we'll have a couple more of these backdrops because in about a week and a half, a week from this Thursday, we're starting a series, and I'll be sharing, called Ancient Worlds of the Bible. A couple of years ago, I was over in Israel, spent 8 days in the Holy Land in Israel and Jordan. I took my camera and cell phone around and took lots of pictures and video. I'll be talking about my trip there to the Holy Land and talking about some of the great teachings of the Bible and how they connect with what's happening today in the Holy Land. We'll be unpacking some Bible prophecies. Anyway, so it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings for several weeks. And so I've got an invitation, and Julia can pass around some of these little invitations to tell us a little bit more about it. Starts Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. Jerusalem, Crossroads of the Ancient World, is a week from this Thursday. And then, anyway, the information is on here. That's what this is about. So we, not twisting your arm, but we're letting you know it's what's happening. And we'd love to see you here, right here in this room. It'll just be a seminar format. I'll be sharing some pictures and videos, talking. We'll have some roundtable discussions. We will have door prizes. So every day you come, you have a chance to win one of the prizes, whether it's a shofar or an oil lamp or a book about the Holy Land. So come every night. We look forward to seeing you.
All right. All righty. So I think that's all. Would
any
you
other
like to have a
announcements?
closing
I'd be
prayer
happy
for
to have a
us?
Closing prayer. Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you, Lord, for this time that we have together. Thank you for the good food that we have enjoyed together and for each person who is here to enjoy it with us. We pray, Lord, that you will bless our time. Bless us as we go back to our homes and bring us back here soon, we pray, to learn more about you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Thank you all for coming, And yes, please write down your email so we can let you know when there's another cooking class so you can come so you don't miss it. And you can follow us on Facebook as well. My Facebook contact info is on your recipe handouts. And you can also follow the Concord Seventh-day Adventist Church Facebook page, and that will also tell you when the next cooking class is as well. So thanks so much, and God bless you all. To my Facebook Live audience, we're glad you could join us. Until next time, we'll see ya.